The all-new generation of the Audi A6 in now the sportiest trim. This is the new RS6 Avant, and very interesting, in the US and in Canada, this will be one of two possibilities where you can now get it as an estate. Yeah, that might be a reason to go for this 600 horsepower monster. Everything you need to know on exterior, interior, and the possibility of driving it later here on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars. Today with Thomas, and as usual in Full HD, or even more, full screen and full length. Let's go! The front is indeed really unique because this is not a typical A6 front. The whole front design is taken over from the A7 because those are also the A7 headlamps. They come standard with LED, optional, and you can go for the Matrix LED, and optional for the Matrix LED laser light. And in this case, the RS also has some dark accentuations in the lower element. This is also a completely new hood, especially for the RS6 model, with strong accentuations. Then this huge front grille with shiny black elements in the honeycomb style. Those are the sensors for all of the assistance systems. The color here for today is Daytona Gray Matte, very interesting with this matte finish. And then there's also a special silver accentuation in the lower part, of course, always bigger and stronger. And maybe you can already pick it up from the front. This RS6 is 4 centimeters wider on each side if you compare it to the normal model. So as soon as you have a Matrix LED light, you also have this cascading turning indicators. Always a very interesting effect. The Audi A6 is the length 4 meters 93, 16 foot 2 or 194 inches. And here the RS6 is just a little bit longer because of those longer overhangs with these massive spoilers in the front and in the rear. And you can see here the side profile. The car sits a little bit lower, comes standard with an adaptive air suspension, which is already then 20 millimeters lower as the normal one. And when you drive more than 120 kilometers per hour, so more than about 70 miles per hour, then it lowers an additional 10 millimeters too with the air suspension here. Alternatively, you can also get the so-called DRC. That's a stiff suspension, so even stiffer than the air suspension. Then with 3 different fixed settings, you can also pick from the inside if you want an even sportier ride. But always advise you, at least I would do though, it's to go for the air suspension to get some more comfort. Then 21-inch wheels are standard for the RS6. However, those ones here are the optional 22-inch wheels. Definitely a massive appearance, and you can also see they fit very well into those bigger wheel arches here, which make the width of the car. You already get bigger brakes with the RS6, and optional you can then go for those ones here, the carbon ceramic brakes, also with contrasting red brake calipers. In this case, pretty massive of course. Usually you need them for track use, for everyday use you do not necessarily need them. One advantage is the wheels keep all clean then, because there's not this typical brake dust. The downside is you really have to use them sometimes, otherwise there will, be like this, layer building on that one. So if you go for those one, you need to be aggressive with them from time to time. Then contrasting mirror caps, here also with chrome frames around the windows, very fitting as a contrast to the matte gray color. Also in the lower part. Then there are those somewhat integrated roof rails. And again, it's very interesting that finally you can also get an A6 Avant in the States, so Canada and the United States, either here as the RS6 or also as the all-wheel versions, not the normal ones. So if you talk, for example, to your wife and say, I really need an A6 estate to be more practical, yeah, then you can go for an RS, for example, in the US. So, what you're thinking about the side profile, very interesting one indeed, and very strong, but still, I think it still has some kind of elegance, especially in this color setup. Or what's your take on that? And talking about the rear axle, what's special there? Optional, you can get this all-wheel steering or rear axle steering when you are at lower speeds, so below 60 kilometers an hour. It goes 5 degrees in the opposite direction than the front wheels, so reducing the turning circle by 1.1 meter, for example, and giving you more agility. And when you drive faster, then it will go into the same direction as the front wheels, giving more stability, then about 2 degrees. So again, 5 degrees, opposite direction, slower speeds, 2 degrees, same direction at higher speeds. Also included in the so-called dynamic package, there is a rear differential lock, so this Quattro Sport differential they call it. Yeah, but the thing is, that's all optional in this package, and I really wonder, I mean, this is at least double the price than an entry A6, so 120k is realistic for this vehicle as in the predecessor generation, and I think they then should include even more and not make everything optional still. Usually hatch-style rears are not that beautiful, but in this case, wow, I think they've really done a good job here, especially again fitting with this matte grey color. I really love it. Could it be that I own a private car with a matte grey color? Maybe. RS6 badge right here, then this beautiful daytime signature right here. It's of course then the brake light, and then again the silver contrast in a swinging form together with some honeycomb structures. And then there's a massive outer exhaust tip, and those are real exhausts in contrast to the S6. It's just that they are split inside. We'll soon take a detailed look at those. And this one here is also the optional performance exhaust. There is also one that looks quite similar, but then with chrome around it. That would be the standard one. This one in the black is the optional performance exhaust with a little bit more sound even than that. Other than that, it's the typical A6 rear. Again, it's a little bit wider as for all the, outside parts. Indeed, they do not have so many shared parts with the original A6, even from the outside chassis. The inside chassis platform, of course, is the same, but most of the outside parts are really exclusively for the RS6. And here is the visual proof, no fake exhaust. It's just that they are split in between. The left side, or here the inner side, is always open, and the outside side each has this exhaust valve to give you even more sound boost, then also depending on the drive mode. And also for those rear lights, you have the cascading turning indicator. Whereas in the S6, you get a 2.9 liter V6 in the US and 3 liter TDI in Europe. Here in the RS6, you always get the pure petrol package, 4 liter V8 bi-turbo with 600 horsepower, 800 Newton meters of torque, and the acceleration figures to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour is about 3.6 seconds, or to 200 kilometers or 125 miles per hour is 12 seconds. So an acceleration figure to 200, which is usual for normal cars, to 100. So pretty powerful, and at least a second or even more faster than the so far S models. And what's also interesting on the fuel consumption side is that this one also comes with the mild hybrid system. If it will have a real effect, we'll see about that when we drive the car. So this sailing or coasting effect can be more effective, for example. And there's also the cylinder deactivation. It's not that one bank gets deactivated, it's 2 on each side, so you can save some more fuel with that. Of course, as soon as you hammer the throttle, then everything gets activated. And now let's take a look, or let's hear the sound. First of all, I will start up the car, then accelerate a little bit with the normal mode, and you will hear that sounds like nothing. And then I will put in the dynamic mode, where also the valves are being activated, and then there will be even more sound. This is the car key with RS badge on the back side. And here, optional again, yeah, you realize the theme, optional, optional, optional. Also have the soft close right there. Then inside of the doors for the RS, you get those carbon fiber inlets, very sporty, and the build quality is really superb, all from the single buttons, memory, for example, also with the clicking sound. The window levers, everything galvanized, very well done. Then you can get an RS6, or you get all series equipment RS6 entry badge right there, and a sporty interior, for example, with this perforated steering wheel with a flat bottom and an RS logo right there, so for good grip. Then those sport seats are also standard. Usually they come with Alcantara here on the inside. That's also what we recommend. Optional in the full animal skin pack. RS batching, and they are also coming with those integrated head restraints, at least in this spec. Optional, you can also go for a more comfortable seat that is also available with inside Alcantara. Probably I would even recommend that, because those here are sportier but less comfortable, and especially when you have this quilting structure on the inside, that's harder on long term. Those are also available cooled, but if you have the Alcantara interior, you don't need it really cooled. However, Audi still stands for the abundance use of cow skin. Yeah, it's 219, but they didn't really realize that yet. Now taking a seat, yeah, the car is a little bit lower than the standard A6. And again, this seating position is also somewhat different. I have tested several seats in the A6, so those special comfort seats are at the moment one of the best in the business overall. However, they're not here in the RS6 as it is right now. So I would really advise you to go for those optional comfort seats, because they just deliver more comfort, as the name says. Here, I mean, they look better, they look sportier. If you take it on a racetrack, for example, which probably most won't do, or if you want to do, if the visual part is more important for you than the actual comfort part, then this would be the choice. If the real comfort is more important, then go for the comfort seats, and also with the Alcantara on the inside, because that's also softer. Here with the animal skin surface, everything is stiffer than the seat already is. So usually when I take a seat in the A6, oh wow, this is so comfortable, and I would drive like 8 hours. Here, when I take a seat as now, because this one here is the most uncomfortable setup, I say like, this is not the comfort of the A6, I know. So I think it really does not make sense here. It might be different for someone else. It's also personal experience, but I can say I don't want to sit in this very seat here for a longer time. Yeah, that's what it is. That's why we're here for. Other than that, the seating position has a quite good overview still to the front, also to the sides. Also the windows are quite upright, and the Avant has also a good view to the rear, so that's no problem. You also have a lot of electric controls. You can put it higher in the front, like this, and also the back part, and there's also a lumbar support available. And as I said, also a seat cooling. And the steering wheel here has an electric support, but I wouldn't bet on it that it's standard for the RS6. Usually it's also optional for all A6 models. You can also put it a little bit more towards you, but even if you have the manual adjustment, it will still do a good job. Interior overview, we have this black panel design when everything is shut off, and when I turn it on, yeah, a lot of black piano, like I use it right here. Don't like it that much, but here the top part is really nice with the carbon fiber style. Then the setup here, 12.3-inch virtual instruments. They are standard. Also this bigger screen, 10.1-inch here, and the lower one, 8.6-inch. They play together. Soon more deals to that. RS specific is, for example, here the RS mode button. There you can program some special RS modes in the screen right there, and then access them easily right here. Soon more deals to the instruments and also here to the screens. What is interesting, you have some buttons left, start, stop, then you have a volume button and camera button, a special one. This is also interesting because it offers this 3D view, which is specific also for the RS. We'll take a close-up of that soon. Then automatic converter gearbox, still the real deal, Tiptronic it is called. Then 40-60 setup for the all-wheel drive, so rear wheel bias, still the real quattro all-wheel drive. And then there's here adaptive cup holders and a nice carbon fiber look also here for the whole middle console. Last but not least, those armrests, you can slide forward and up, and it's really well attached, and then some charging devices underneath. And another armrest, you can see here 1 and 2 USB devices, a normal one, no USB-C yet, and also an inductive charging platform right there. By the way, another exclusive RS feature, those ones here, the shifting pedal, they are real aluminum, so also different than the standard models. Digital instruments here with the GPS on the inside, and when you have this view, for example, all over the place, pretty cool. You're very flexible, but you can also put some other information right in there. And when you hit the RS mode button at the steering wheel, then you also get special RS gauges here with the focus on the RPMs. Seating position here in the rear, 1.86 m or 6'1", my height. Still enough headroom, same as in the front. There's also legroom left, it's no problem. However, the package, when you consider exterior length and the space you have on the inside, is not that great in this segment overall. The position, it falls a little bit backwards with the bench, and again very stiff as for the material, so I cannot recommend that. Here also with the integrated head restraint, by the way, if you have the comfort seat, then there will also be a separated head restraint right here. Then ISOFIX at the outside seats. You can flip the seats already from here like this. And then there are also some more comfort amenities. One of my favorite features is that the seatbelt holders are illuminated at night here in this, this frame right there. That's a very cool feature. And then there's a middle armrest like this with some cup holders, adaptive also, and some more space. And you can also use this middle part here as a ski hatch. That's also possible. And then the all-wheel drive middle tunnel here is pretty thick. That's typical for such a vehicle, so it's hard to sit here on the middle seat and also very stiff and high. However, you can also go for 4-zone AC. Then you have a nice AC here in the rear, also with seat heating, and 2 USB devices right there. It's the third and the fourth then. Now to the hatch, by the way. Here, did you see this black stripe? It goes all over the car. It's also an RS accentuation. Then an electric hatch, of course, and some space underneath right here. Very well usable. This is, of course, the advantage of the Avant right here. And if we take the normal measure, by the way, this top cover here raises automatically and closes again. This is a great feature. Then, first of all, the width right here is about a meter. It's a little bit, here it's a little bit more than a meter. And the normal length, when we have the seats not flipped, right here is about 1.20 meters, and then we can flip the seats right here, and they directly flip indeed. I always like when the seats actually do that. And well, I put the front seats a little bit more in the front now than we would be driving, but you can see when we have the 2 meters set up, you can approximately reach it to the middle part. To the back seats, as I would be driving, would be about 1.90 meters, 1.80 meters, something like that. So very well usable, this one here. It's of course a big car, but also big storage. And now to our conclusion for today with the new Audi RS6 Avant. First of all, it's pretty cool that you can finally get an estate also in the US and Canada. And if you don't need so much power, you can also go for the all-road version. Then exterior, of course, pretty strong, wide in the front, massive front grille, and this special sporty look of the A7 together with those headlamps. I think it works very well on the car, and they still could keep up the elegance. If you want most comfort, you would stick to the 21-inch wheels, you would stick to the standard air suspension, and you would also go for the Alcantara seats on the middle, or even go for those optional more comfortable seats and not go with those ones here, which are just, on the visual level more sporty, but then again, lose comfort. The interior with a very high build quality, again, as I said earlier, lacking of more animal skin alternatives, and that very well to use also with a touchscreen. No control knob, so while driving it's not so well to use, but overall the system is intuitive. Special RS mode button, where you can also fine-tune your settings, because most people do use this car also as a primary vehicle, as an everyday driving car. And that's also important that you can tune your settings, that it's also best suitable for you. There's also reasonable space in the trunk especially, and also for the rear. You can also use this car with 4 tall adults, that's no problem. And of course, very special with the performance, great engine hood design. And of course, this acceleration figure speaks for itself. You won't need any more power whatsoever, even more powerful than the predecessor. I'll soon see also how it plays out with the mild hybrid system, if you can also get some decent mileage in your everyday driving life. Maybe you don't want to go to the fuel station that often. Sound-wise, I'm not exactly sure. That wasn't too impressive yet, even in the sports mode. Or what's your take on that? Please leave that one in the comments. So, is that one here your dream estate, or is it something else? Please leave it in the comment section, and we will also link some other relevant videos, for example to an E63, which would be the relevant competitor for this one. So, thank you for tuning into this episode, and also tune in next time.